Let's
I'm
go
going to
live.
email back to him right now saying we just went live. Go ahead and come in.
We're taking care of.
So yeah, we're doing administrative work here.
Yeah, we were doing some administrative work that we couldn't have public.
So is that working for you guys now?
He should have access.
Yeah. Oh, so there's the password?
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. Let's see. What screen am I supposed to be going to now? Oh, here it is.
I'm not seeing your screen. I can't say.
Yeah, I'm just talking out loud. Fuck. Now my Windows Microsoft shit is blocking me. Use my password. What? I don't know my Microsoft password. Oh my god.
And that's why I use Linux.
I hate that I have Windows, man. And you know, I also have Apple computer too, but not on this machine. Skip. Oh, I can skip this step. Remind me in 2 weeks. Sure. Oh, I'm in. All right. Okay, I see the calendar now.
And it's just like when you were setting up the calendar invites and that.
Same shit, right?
before.
Okay, so this is now
Exact
where
same
we will
setup.
do the calendar invites. And now we're using one system instead of two separate ones. Okay. Cool.
We're looking good.
Get back to business now.
Okay. Who did you say was waiting to watch?
Michael Pillsbury? Is it Pillsbury?
Yeah, I think that's that guy that he had. Michael, I think he was the one that his sub got taken down, and he was on. He came to one of the meetings quite a while ago, and he was part of a sub that was fairly for a small sub. They had a fair bit of activity, and he got what was it? It was about the ICE raids, and he said some things that got him kicked off of Reddit, and promoting violence. They thought he says that he wasn't, but anyway, I didn't actually see the post, so I don't know.
Are you saying he was banned from a subreddit or Reddit altogether?
From Reddit altogether. No,
Shit.
no, I think he got banned from that sub. It was his own sub. I think he also said he got banned from Reddit entirely. I can't remember now. I don't know, but he was an interesting character. He was very worked up about the ICE raids and everything, and I hope he's. I hope things. I heard that ICE has actually we're not hearing about ICE anymore. I don't know if that's just because of the war or what.
Maybe they're scared because they're getting sued individually, not the whole department, but individual.
Combination between the war and Kristi Noem getting kicked out.
Yeah, well,
half the drama got removed when she got fired.
But they're not nearly as active now, I guess, or what? They're not picking up people at the speed that they used to, or something, right? I don't know.
They're averaging about 1,000 people a day.
And that hasn't slowed down, though. That's the same as it was, right? Or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I heard that, yeah, I don't know, Trump had, what was it? I was listening to Bill Maher. Bill Maher, I think, on Friday, he was talking about something about that had, and I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about, whether or not it was just a hype that had slowed down or whether or not ICE itself had slowed down. You know, I don't know.
They're still out there, but the administration got hit pretty hard for the way they handled Midway Blitz and whatever the one in Michigan was.
Yeah, and then another angle I heard on, I think Bill Maher mentioned, was the farmers. They were going, stop taking our laborers. So, and
oh yeah,
big support for his.
Yeah, the construction industry here is in Texas is suffering bad because of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're not just taking undocumented workers or criminals; they're taking everybody.
Yeah.
If they don't like you, they're taking you in, and then they're
And
holding you
even
for as long as they want.
and then on top of that, there's got to be a side effect of the fact that nobody wants to go to work. You know, they don't want to put themselves in a place that might get picked up, right? So I'm sure that it's compounding effect kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got people. We've even got American citizens that are Latino descent refusing to go out unless they absolutely have to
Yeah.
because they're afraid they're going to get picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to the point that if you look Latino or I hate to say it, or even brown skinned,
Yeah.
they're pulling you over and demanding papers to show you're a U.S. citizen. Welcome to
Yeah.
the Gestapo 2026.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be, boy, it's really going to be a real, indication of the future when the midterms come. You know, whether or not Trump either has to stop. I can't see how the midterms could go well for him unless he
No,
tries to stop the election in some manner, right?
which is what he's trying to do actively.
Yeah, yeah. So this will be a really big test for you guys. Really, really big test midterms. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
And
for
March
sure.
20 or March 28th, we have no Kings events going on.
Yeah.
No Kings protests going on. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
He's what's really pissing him off is the fact we're not doing anything violent, so he can't declare martial law and just say, okay, we're not having elections anymore.
I think this the war is distracting him from being able to concentrate on that area. And
Mm-hmm.
so that might be kind of a good thing because it's not going the way he wanted. I think he was expecting to be done with the war already, right?
Oh yeah, he
And
was hoping for quick turnover like he did with Maduro, and it
yeah,
don't work that way everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
Iran's got their system. They know that area better than we do, and they got the caves and everything they can use to their advantage.
another thing he's gonna have to deal with right away. I hadn't heard this anywhere except from Bill Maher as well. One of the guests there, and Bill Maher mentioned this. So he lifted the oil embargo on Russia. So
He
guess
also
what
lifted
Russia is doing
sanctions
right
on
now?
Iran.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He lifted sanctions on Iran too. Yeah, that's
So now
bizarre.
we're funding now we're funding our own war against us.
Yeah, yeah. And although Iran, I don't see why even bother with either of them. I don't see how it's going to really help. And for two reasons. One, Iran, they can't ship any oil either right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just blew up the
Oh,
island they used to fill the boats.
Yeah, they're
Right?
letting ships go through that are friendly towards Iran and not friendly towards America.
Yeah, but they blew up the filling station. So how can the Iran ship any oil now?
Oh, this suffers from Saudi Arabia too. The oil comes
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Saudi
So
Arabia, and that all comes through that strait. So it cripples
no, but
his
why
coastline.
lift the sanctions on Iran if they can't ship any oil because they blew up the way of filling the boats anyway? You know what I mean? And so it just looks
True.
stupid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but here the other controversy is that that Trump's going to have to deal with right away is he doesn't want. One of the reasons they hit Venezuela is because they want to get Cuba, and so the blackouts of Cuba and everything. Well, I guess Russia right now has a massive ship going to Cuba with oil. And so
Got a
Trump is
couple of
either
them
going to have to
going.
intercept. Yeah. So either he's going to have to, because that's going to ruin his whole plan with Cuba if he lets that oil in. So how he's either going to have to blockade Russia now when he just gave him the go ahead to sell oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird situation. Anyway, I don't know how the hell that's all going to work out, but that's all pretty weird.
Because
And
he doesn't
I
take
just can't.
consideration long term. He looks at short term now and thinks that's going to
Yeah.
work out just fine. He's not
Yeah.
looking
I
down the
can't see
long
how
term
any,
implications.
to me, it's just going to look dumber and dumber and dumber. And like, yeah.
He's been doing that
How
for the
he's,
last 10 years.
yeah, I know. Yeah, from my point of view at least, but it just seems like it would be more of a whole world point of view. I mean, everybody, all the supporters, even. I don't know. Even my parents are
Can we
starting to turn against them, so that's a good sign,
can we get to
my
talking
opinion.
about chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to talk about Sharon. Sharon is a person
Yeah,
I
that's what I
spoke
was
to
going to
on
bring up.
Thursday.
So help
Yeah.
us
So you guys
understand
got
what that's about.
yeah. So you guys got the email that I forwarded her
Hmm.
email. Because I thought it was a nice positive email to get, and was also it's an indication that she's not going to start blocking me because some of these people I speak to them, and then we sound like we have a great conversation, and then they block me after, and they just stop all communication. I don't know.
Sharon's email, I don't know if it is, like that email is not part of our email list. Has she been?
No, she hasn't been to the meetings or anything. No.
Oh, okay. So how did you meet this person?
This is all part of that plan or no Game B crowd. Now I've spoken about Game B before. And Daniel Schmachtenberger is the guy that first came up with the whole concept, and it kind of took off from there. The Game B crowd, they believe in the way the world works right now is what they call Game A, and it's very a lot of rivalry, right? And it's I have to win over you. So I got by putting other people down and propping myself up, I can gain. It's what do they call it? The opposite of zero sum. Situation. So that's the way the world works right now. It's very cutthroat, and if I can push you down, I can get higher and do better. So it's a very rivalrous society that we live in right now, and they believe in reducing that rivalry. And if we were to do that, and we all treated one another more like family, basically, that would be playing game B. And in a game B scenario, whenever we're dealing with other people, we don't look at them as our rival. We look at it as if I can help them to succeed, they can help me to succeed, and we can all succeed and do better. So it's a what do you call a non-zero type of attitude, right? So anyway, the world we all recognize the point that they make though is that we all recognize that playing game B would be better than this game that we're playing now, game A. But
Some of us.
if I try to be in the play like a game B player where I'm less rivalrous and try to do everything in a non-zero type of way, the people that have higher levels of rivalry will tend to run over me and
The
I
ones
don't
with a
get
lot of
anywhere.
power and money.
Yeah, because they get all the power and money, and they're not playing the same game. So the point is that the whole world would be better if we all played game B. But how do we get there when there's a bunch of people playing game A that are just crushing all the people that are playing game B, right? So that's the crux of it. And the fact is that they recognize that most of the people in the world would rather be playing game B. We just don't feel like we can. We don't feel like it's a type of world that we could get anywhere if we do. So anyway, the game B crowd are a very positive crowd. They want, and very, zero sum type of thinking amongst themselves. And they are trying to do game B the best they can right now, even although they recognize this fact that it's going to be very tough to get everybody on board, right? So that started a bunch of movements. So Sharon gave me some links to some
And you
Facebook
found Sharon
groups.
through what? Subreddit?
Yeah, so I have been onto this game B thing for quite a while now, but when I looked into it in the past, it looked like it kind of died off, and it's not top of anybody's mind so much right now as it was when it first kind of came out.
Or at
But
least
people are still working.
among the
Mhm.
famous people that have big podcasts.
Yes, yeah, but they haven't dropped it. It's still kind of on the back burner for a lot of them. So anyway, I did some searching there about a month ago or about Game B again using ChatGPT, and I found a bunch of these different groups, and I found this film that some of them had put together, and it's a film about Game B. And so I went through. It's a little animated short that they did, and anyway, I looked at the list on there, and there's some big players. I don't know if you guys are familiar. I doubt you're familiar with Jim Rutt. He was a real big push to make.
You're
And
cutting
Jim
out.
Rutt podcast,
You're
and
freezing up.
You're cutting out. Can you say that again?
I said Jim Rutt is a big player in this, and he's got a podcast, and he's made very well in business, I guess. He claims to have what they call FU money, and so he's he's done well, and he can. And
FU
anyway,
to
so
the game
um,
A people, not FU
yeah,
to the game B people. But yeah, I get
yeah, yes. And meaning that can't be captured. He doesn't need advertisers. He doesn't need to suck up to anybody anymore. And that, I don't know if you ever heard that term. Joe Rogan, when he got that big contract, he was talking about how he's now got fuck you money, and he can have anybody
I've
on
heard
the
the
podcast
term.
now.
Yeah. I heard
He
it
was
like
kind
this. Here's how a comedian said it. He was talking about relationship between two famous people. Who was it? Two
Elon
singers.
Musk,
No,
right?
it was two singers, and I mean the really big ones. Like
Taylor Swift.
No, it's a black woman or
Beyonce.
Beyonce and whatever boyfriend she had. Okay, what the comedian was saying was that guy had FU money, and he said that she had no FU money, meaning 10x more, let's say. It's hilarious the way he said it. FU money and no FU money.
Yeah. So Jim Rutt is a guy that I see as my real target here. If we could get to him, I think that, and if he likes the idea, I think that would be just an absolute game changer for us.
Introduce you.
Yes. So she knows Jim Rutt. So as I said, I'm looking at the film that they did there. Jim Rutt's one of the main contributors on there, but there's a bunch of people, and then she's down further on the list. And as I mentioned to her, that's why I picked you, is because you're not up high on the list. Because people higher on the list probably get lots of people calling them up and saying, I have all the fucking answers. And, and they look at the proposals and they just throw them in the pile of people, So, I didn't want to try to approach Jim Rutt right off the bat because I've had bad experiences when I try to approach these higher up people. And anyway, so I want to start off with her. And yeah, she personally knows Jim Rutt, and she can introduce us directly to him. And so that's a really great door into that world. And, I wouldn't say I've won her over 100%. She thinks it's an intriguing idea. She thinks it is worth introducing to Jim. Whether or not Jim thinks it's a great idea, she doesn't know. But, she does find it a little bit far-fetched.
Well, I imagine she's more interested in you and your motivation for making KAOS rather than KAOS directly.
I don't think she questions my motivations. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, even if she doesn't think KAOS is great, she wants to help you because she knows your motivation for KAOS is the main thing. Just like what we say, if we find something better than KAOS, we'll drop KAOS and go to that. It's because our motivation for what we're trying to do is the main thing. It's the first thing.
Yeah.
So, and she's trying to connect you to the other people that are in the same space. And she has in this email 2 projects that she says are similar to KAOS. Yeah, the Society Library and Liquid Democracy.
Yeah. Well, that was a reference to a specific topic, and because she brought up liquid democracy as an example of something that Jim supports and she supports, and she brought that up kind of as a kind of like they have more behind them. You know, like I don't know, more examples and things.
It's more
Like
mature.
there are, it's more mature, and there are some industries that have kind of tried to incorporate that. Not really any real governments, but governing systems within some larger corporations have kind of tried to take kind of them. And so there's a little more. She was comparing me in the fact that there's we don't have much to look at to as proof of concept, right? But then I pointed out to her that she kind of was hesitant, but maybe agreed with me that it's even more far-fetched that something like liquid democracy could be incorporated and on a big scale in governments. And the reason why I say this is because in order to get liquid democracy into our governing systems, it would require that our representatives try to make it happen. Our elected officials have to be involved and have to be on board. And we can't get them to do even the slightest thing. And I always use the example, and she's Canadian, so she knew this example very well, of ranked choice voting, which we've talked about before, right? So ranked choice voting would be a step forward for democracy. And yet we can't get them to do it. You can't get your government officials to do the smallest things to increase democracy. Right? So
you're cutting out, Brian. Can you repeat that?
Probably blocking out there. Yeah. Liquid democracy, I think, is actually harder to implement than our plan, because liquid democracy requires us to get the politicians on board, and they'll never be on board for that kind of thing. They never want to see more democracy because it lowers their chance of winning the next election. If they have power now, adding things like ranked choice voting or liquid democracy removes some of their power, right? So they don't want that. So it's an impossibility.
But yeah. I mean, there's maybe like less than 1% are trying for it, right?
Yeah, you'll get Bernie Sanders and people like that, but that's not enough, right? It never gets through. It never gets through your parliaments, right? And show me an example from the past where there's been a major change in how they do democracy. There are virtually none. Right?
And then there's the example you explained. Was it a province in Canada where, I don't remember what they implemented. They implemented something towards getting, votes or feedback or whatever from the populace, and they weren't getting enough people actually engaging.
Yes,
that's a weird scenario.
That's the and that. See, I kind of wanted to with the example she gave there, where she talked about liquid democracy. She talked about how, and this is the same example you're talking about that I use, is about the Pirate Party. And the Pirate Party in Iceland, they got elected in, but then they couldn't get enough people to go to their website and actually participate. So they ended up being like everybody else and just being a representative. So anyway, and she points out there that liquid democracy was incorporated by the Pirate Party in France, I think she said, or someplace in the email, but only for a short time, and it was dropped. And so this is where I would point out that they tried to, but once again, they probably didn't get the participation, or they couldn't get other people in their parliament to actually pass anything with it. So same problems, right? So my point is, there's lots of other solutions out there that have maybe a lot more examples and a lot more background or whatever to be able to sound more positive or more likely, but they actually have less chance of being incorporated into our systems because they have to get through the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are the politicians, right?
And KAOS bypasses the gatekeepers.
And we're the only. Tell me about another system that has an idea to bypass the politicians. There are none, right? Even our friend there, Yuval, that comes to our meetings, he has his own idea of a system, but that system requires politicians to grab onto it and make it and run with it, and that's just never going to happen. We have lots of examples of how that doesn't happen. It's never happened, right? There's no history that shows those things work. Right? Even though they may have better background information and better, like, more positive things coming from people about them, they've never gotten anywhere. Right? Show me the history. There's no history on any of them ever being incorporated. The biggest change I've ever heard of was in Australia, where they did bring in ranked choice voting. But for that to happen, they went for a couple of years where they couldn't govern. And it was so bad that they had a locked parliament where they had to keep just having another election, and they could never do any governing until they changed something, right? So unless we hit a brick wall in our governing methods, which they just don't do, they look at that and they go, well, we don't want to get to that point. So they never let it get to that point, and they make their governments work, whatever it takes, but they work shittily, right? And they don't incorporate any new methods to boost democracy. Never happens, right? Australia, like I said, is a rare example, and that was long ago, and that set off a warning gun for every other politician to look at it and go, well, we don't want to get to that point, right? So they never get to that point, and then where they have to actually change anything. So anyway, the point I want to make,
right? I think this needs to be explained on our website, that all the attempts of anyone trying to get to game B, or we could use different language, involve going through the gatekeepers, the politicians, and KAOS is the only one bypassing the gatekeepers.
That's right.
And we think it can get us towards direct democracies.
Yeah. Closer, moving in that direction, higher levels of democracy. So to me, that's our big goal.
And I think that's not currently explained in any of our documentation, is it? Very directly?
Well, it is touched on. Yeah, I do touch on it. I mean, in how it works, I do talk about how we don't need permission from anybody to build this. But it is just a little blurb.
Very specifically, everyone trying to do this is trying to go through those gatekeepers.
I don't think I have mentioned it.
So
no.
either
we
should change one of the essays or make a new essay.
I think it should be an additional thing, an add-on. I think we need some add-ons in a few places, and that's one of them. And a little blurb about that, right? So for people that want to understand a little more about why we're different, right? Maybe link to it even in the essay where I describe how things work. There we could add a link. If you want to learn more about this, click this, right? And we can go into more detail about that. Yeah, because I don't want to add more to it. That's already such a big blurb for anybody to fucking read through already, right? So I don't want to add a whole nother page in there.
Well, you shouldn't think of it as just adding. You might add something and cut out 3 things.
Yeah, but I don't see anything else I want to cut out.
Yeah, and that's why the easy way is just make a new fucking essay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said,
but I don't want to make it
with the design. With the design on the website, we can easily incorporate that. Just like I've got everything, just a little blurb.
Yeah, well, the hard part is the writing, not where to put it on the website.
Yeah.
The hard part is always the writing for me, anyway. Yes. So anyway, So I mean, once again, she kind of makes my point, if you ask me, because she talks about where they use liquid democracy, but only for a short time and then have to drop it. And it's for either keepers or and
Brian, you're having a real bad connection.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you cut out again. We didn't hear you.
Are you having storms or something up there?
Yeah. So no storms or anything. I don't know why I'm having so many problems. I'm still waiting to get better internet here. Hopefully sometime soon. Well, it's not going to be soon, but anyway, soon within the next 6 months, maybe. Yeah, the point I was making though, or another point I'd like to make is that the one thing that makes us really different is that we get past the gatekeepers if this works, right? The other one is participation, and almost all of these other systems again require participation, and they are all more narrowly focused on politics, right? You know, like if you look at our friend Yuval's site there, it's all about politics. They're all political categories. He's got a bunch of different education and all these other areas, but they're all political. And trying to get people to participate politically on only politics sites is another big battle. And I think that we are we're going around that problem again by allowing everything in the whole universe. You know, there's no dividing line what's politics and what is not. And that kind of gets everybody involved. And then hopefully we get higher levels of them participating in political stuff as well, right? So I think that the wider scope of our plan gets us past that. So those are two major obstacles that almost guaranteed no other systems will actually catch on, right?
Well, and the proof in the pudding for our plan here, like you said, we're wanting to incorporate everything available for discussion. If we we get that going and people see systemic changes in like the way a corporation does or something like that, they're going to be a little more open to it because they're going to be like, wait a minute, they have politics too. Maybe we can make some changes that need to be done, you know, and start doing that. We don't want to force it to be straight politics out of the out of the box. I'm actually trying to encourage people to, when I talk to people, actually encourage them more on the aspect you can talk about anything you want, whether it's shopping for a car or what, you know. I'm staying away from the politics primarily, but then I throw in the politics at the end. So I'm giving them, you know, you've got more than just politics going on
here. Yes. Everybody has things they want to complain about. I know there's a lot of people like to complain about products. Right now, one of my biggest beef right now is customer service. I think right there we would fill this thing up with customer service fucking complaints. You know, right off the bat. I try to buy something and it's like the company doesn't even want me as their damn customer anymore.
Right.
I can't talk to them. I can't they don't cater to me whatsoever. Right.
And everything's behind glass doors.
And everything's behind,
locked doors.
Yes. Which brings me to kind of another, that's a little bit of a side topic I was thinking about. We used to have power in a couple of ways as consumers and as the people that produce, right? So we used to have unions that would help us, and that was on the production side, right? You know, we could stop our production if we wanted to, you know, when we had unions, and use that power to force things to change. The other way is to stop buying, right? And so the power of our dollar. And right now, because of this, a lot of companies don't even care if we buy off them anymore. They have so many customers that you are such a small percentage, they just don't give a shit about you. So we're losing our individual ability to have any power with our buying dollar. We need to really get together. When a million of us say, I'm not buying your product, they will fucking pay attention, right? We need to have this more, unionized or collective action, right? Our dollar alone is not doing anything, and it's doing less and less. And so, as a group, though, you know, we can push for more change this way. And so, anyway, just to get back to it, you know, about participation. Right there alone, I think a million people have a million things to say about customer service, you know, and that's just one area of category of bitching and complaining.
You know, there are systems like, let's say, Google reviews. That's for people to complain about customer service, but that's not a discussion platform.
Yeah, and it's
and KAOS is the reviews and then people talking about it.
well, you can, but we're also not really a discussion platform either. But I think the main thing that sets us aside from Google reviews is the fact that they screw with those reviews. They control them, and if a corporation pays them enough money, they'll still get a higher rating even if they're getting bad reviews. You know that everybody knows that all these different rating systems out there are skewed. You can ask anybody, virtually everybody knows, and they still use them. They'll use them and they'll complain about it. They'll complain about how Yelp is will screw with the ratings, or I've heard a lot of complaints about women that get Uber drivers that are sexually harassing them, and they'll complain about them, but that driver never gets penalized in any way, shape, or form, right? Because he's a high producer or something like that. So they
Then
and
what
he doesn't
you found
get
on Amazon recently, I don't know about recently, a few years ago, I noticed a ton of products have a bunch of fake reviews.
yes.
Now, in our case, KAOS will allow that too, but
Yes. But
there's
you can,
mechanisms to tell what's fake and what's not fake.
well, you just don't look at the anonymous reviews. Look at the ones from people you understand and you respect, people with a good background, people that that have a great history of giving good reviews and never being trolling in their life and stuff like this, right? And if people are get to be known for being a paid reviewer, you'll have that information, right? So you'll be able to sort through these people.
It's really interesting to me how you landed on this KAOS setup with all these. Like, I wonder how many years it took for each iteration. Like, before you realized we have to bypass the gatekeepers, and before you realized that you can't start with politics, you have to go with everything and then get into politics.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that kind
how old were you
of
when these things came to you?
that all kind of came together when I was when I was first thinking about how when I first realized that search engines could search through all information and get and find any category you're looking for. That's when I kind of realized that, because at first I thought moving toward direct democracy would take for you and me, average people, to deal with all that data was just too much of an obstacle. Like if I had something to say, where do I put it and stuff like this. And so I was thinking, so when I started thinking, well, maybe Google will help in this manner, or search engines in general, help us find the different categories in different places. Then I started thinking about categories, and I started realizing, how am I going to restrict categories, right? And have categories. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, how about we didn't have any categories? What if we said everything's open, right? And I just came to this conclusion that that's kind of how it would have to be. And then as I started looking at that deeper, I kind of came to the realization, man, that could help really push participation. Because people have, something they have to say about, something in their life. And if it's not political, that's great. We'll take that too, and anyway, things just seemed to fall into place there when I started thinking no categories.
What year was this?
I don't know. It was close to 15 years ago, about 14 years ago or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then I sat there.
Early 2000s.
It took me at least a year when I first realized that maybe no categories was the way to go. It took me about a year of really letting that sink in.
That's all before AI. And then when AI came about, what did you think?
Well, AI, where I clued in with that one, was just shortly after I started promoting this thing, and I joined Occupy, and I was trying to promote this idea amongst the people there. And so anyway, as I'm doing this stuff, I listened to Hardcore History with Dan Carlin. I was listening to that show. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but if you ever want to listen to a history show, he's fantastic. Yeah, podcasts, eh?
And from what I understand, he's not a technical historian. But
no,
he's a pretty good historian.
Yeah. He started out as a radio host and DJ.
And he's really
And
big on, is it YouTube?
yeah, well, on podcasts. He's really big in podcasts. He had
Not
his
you.
own website at one
Video
time,
podcast.
and then I think he got on YouTube later or something. I'm not sure. But he has a backlog. He's got a huge backlog, and his shows are like 20 hours long. They're they're extremely in depth, and they
In
go
chunks, right?
huh?
In chunks. It's not like a 20-hour
Yeah.
video.
Well,
It's a
you watch
series
it as
of 20
long
hours.
as much. It's a series, yes. So he does one on the First World War. He does one on the Second World War. He does one on specific
Yeah,
aspects
I heard it's
of the
really
war.
engaging. I saw him on a podcast. That's how I learned about him.
Yeah, really engaging. He started out as a show for history buffs. So in his early podcast, you kind of have to know the players. He's not explaining to you the different people. He's going through what's going on.
And
So
now
I'd
it's
have to
more
kind of Google
for
people.
people who know
Now,
less. So he
yeah,
fills in
that's
the
right.
gaps more.
Yeah, he made it more for anybody kind of thing. Yeah, but some of his earlier stuff, he doesn't take time to explain who the players are. He expects you to know, a little bit of, at least a fair bit of history before you listen to his stuff, and then he gets into depth, and he does a lot on different conflicts and wars and the punitive wars in Greece and stuff like this. And
What's the
Roman
name of his show?
Hardcore History.
Hardcore History. It has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it's 600,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I'm going to subscribe.
And he only costs like $1 or something to subscribe. It's nothing. It's very, very cheap. And he's got a ton of back history that you can go through. If you want a shorter show that I thought was just amazing, was what was it called? It's all about when the Reformation happened with the Bible, and this group in Munster, Germany, took over the town of Munster, Germany. It's an absolutely wild story. It's about cults, and this one cult that took over a whole town back in 18 something or something, 17 something, 18 something, and they took over this whole town, and it's just an absolutely wild story. Like there was 2 guys at the end that were killed by the king, and they hung their corpses on the steeple in cages on the steeple of the church in Munster, Germany, the biggest cathedral in Munster, Germany. They hung them as an example in these cages until their bodies just rotted away and there's nothing left of them. The cages are still hanging there today. The cages from these bodies as an example to the people. Don't try that again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really wild story. Yeah. Oh, what was it called now? I'll send you guys a link or something, or the name of the show. But anyway, of that episode, and that one episode is a short one, and it's about 10 hours, probably somewhere around there, at least 5 or 6 anyway. So anyway, Dan Carlin had one of his idols on his show, and this is an idol of mine too. His name's James Burke. James Burke, back in the 70s, did a series called Connections. It was a BBC series, and it was instrumental to me. I mean, it just blew my mind when I saw that show. And he connects all the inventions throughout the world, throughout history, and he starts, I think, with the wheel. So the invention of the wheel. And then he talks about how the wheel led to carts, and the carts led to this, and this led to that. And he goes all the way through, and it's a series that series is about, it's a whole season at least anyway. So it's like 10 to 12 shows or something, eh? At least 8 or 10 shows, 1 hour shows. And he goes, connects from one invention to the other, from the wheel all the way to the space shuttle. And every connection, and it's absolutely blew my mind, and he gets into a lot of detail about different things. And people
So
still
the
reference,
rockets on the space shuttle, this is very interesting. the rockets on the space shuttle, and I'm probably saying some of this wrong, is the width, the diameter of it is the width of 2 horses' asses. Because of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And in particular, it was the case of back when what is it? They had to, have railroads and some of it going through mountains, and what was going through at the time was the width of 2 horses' asses. Well, rockets can't go through that same area without that same size.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really weird. Old measurements carry over into new technologies.
Yeah, yeah. He also got an award.
Just at JSC.
Okay.
Buoyancy Lab at Johnson Space Center. I was just there last week. Actually, I was coming home from that when we got in our car accident.
Oh, really? Well, were you watching something happen?
No, it was actually a tour of the place. See, my roommate, Megan, friend of ours, just moved in with her son. Her father works there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like free tour and get to see stuff.
Right on. Yeah.
Where I was at, and I saw the training facility for water landings and that, and doing this space. You guys have seen Space Cowboys and Armageddon?
Oh yeah.
All right, in the pool scenes that were done for the training, it was done there.
Oh yeah.
It was done there in the lab.
I've seen lots of stuff on there, and I've watched those types of where they train them underwater and everything. I'm sure I've seen that very same pool on different shows.
Oh yeah, that's where they do it at. That's where they do it at. It's really neat. They've got they got the mock-up of half the International Space Station underwater right now. The U.S. section for training purposes. And they're also got another section that they put sand down there, and the way everything is set up is similar to the likeness of what's going to be on Mars. So right now they're training on the Mars mission.
Oh yeah.
The manned Mars
Hey
mission.
guys, I gotta get going. I gotta do stuff today. Go grocery shopping, and I got a meeting for tutoring. So I'd like to get going. Are we done talking about KAOS or?
Yeah, well, I just finish up that story. I'm watching James Burke on the podcast with Dan Carlin, and James Burke brought up, and this is years ago. This is got to be 8-9 years ago. He brought up how eventually everybody will have their own personal bots, like friends, helping them through life. And that's when it clued into me exactly how bots are going to work with our system, right? That's what, I went from thinking about search engines to thinking about bots, right? And the new AI that's coming, and now we're here, right? He was predicting the future very, very well, and that's when I kind of clued all that in and put it all together. And I went, yeah, okay, yeah, that's going to work fucking beautifully. Yeah, I can see exactly where that's going, right? So anyway, James Burke, once again, was hugely influential to me. He was when I first saw his show, and then again on that podcast. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. If you guys, I'm going to have to get a Facebook account because I want to join that group that Sharon's recommending there. And so my plan is right now, as it's mentioned in her email, that I told her don't contact. I don't want to push her to contact Jim Rutt yet. I want to join these groups because Jim's part of those groups, or at least he's somewhat affiliated with them. So if we can kind of make some friends in some of those groups, that I think it's going to be helpful again in influencing Jim Rutt. And if we get Jim Rutt on board, well, he's got fuck you money. He's got some money behind him, and he's got a reputation. He's a real character of a guy. Yeah, if you want to listen to some of his podcasts, he talks a lot about AI. He talks a lot about metaphysics and science and stuff like this. And I love his podcast. I've been going through the back history of it. He seems like a fantastic guy. I think he's thinking similar in line with what we are. Although, anyway, I won't get into it, but there are some controversial areas there where he might not be 100% in line. But I'm hoping we can get him right in line with what we're thinking here. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to set up a Facebook account, and if you guys wanted to look in, maybe joining those groups, we'll keep in touch about that. All right.
All right.
I recorded all the links from this email from Sharon, so we have access to them later.
Okay.
And I guess that's it.
All right,
All right.
guys.
All right. See you
We'll
guys next
see you
week.
next week.
See you next week. Thank you,
Bet.
guys.
All
It's a
right.
good meeting.